how it fits in with things that our staff might already be doing. My response has been, I think there's a lot of support in the council to support small businesses, and I was happy to see this in the mayor's proposal. 5 FTEs is a significant ongoing financial investment for the city, so just wanting to have more detail on what that would look like and what those folks would do before we start kind of getting down the road of talking about FTEs. Been what I've been noting. Okay. That could be a comment or question, but I guess either now or at some point in the future, I think it would be helpful to have more feedback from staff about what the kind of more detailed expectations we're hearing and how we can fulfill them, whether it's FTEs or in another way.
Before you begin, if I might, I just want to check in with Councilmember Goodman. You had a comment?
We're all wondering what 5 FTEs Councilmember Bender's talking about.
I think we'll be here. So I've been hearing that number, and I believe council members will be receiving a letter if we haven't already requesting that.
This is what they want.
Yes.
Oh, well, the trust fund people want $15 million too. Are we going to just get in line and do that? I mean, well, everyone wants something except for to pay taxes. So what are this is what they want. This is what you're proposing, correct? I just want to be clear. There's not 5 FTEs. Right. Probably to monitor sick time.
No, I've heard advocates and council members use that number. And so what my point was, I would like our staff to make sure that they hear what the request is to accomplish and then make a recommendation about how it could be accomplished, either through FTEs or in another way. I think we're on the same page.
Duly noted.
Yeah, we could do that. And I think it might be well served. This is something we could talk about offline. I'd like to have this kind of focus on the change item number 5, and if others wanted to comment on that, I'd welcome that from staff. I just wanted to frame that a little bit, that we're not going to be talking about other ideas that haven't been proposed or fleshed out yet, as much as we're trying to find out what's being proposed.
Exactly, that is exactly correct. You want to respond?
Mr. Chair, committee members, including Councilmember Bender and Councilmember Goodman, just Craig said it, I'll say it again. The proposal that's here is for $25,000 one time for outreach costs, on the theory that when the 1 FTE that we are proposing, not in the budget process, to fill in within the existing CPED FTE complement, if everyone doesn't know it's there was no point in setting up a single point of contact. You can't do that unless the outside world knows that this person is there. So this is primarily outreach and marketing costs to make the world aware that we have such a position once that position exists.
And that position exists within the CPED complement? This is just a realignment or a reassignment?
Correct.
Does it change programs within CPED? Is it coming from a different division, or is it within the business or economic policy development?
Mr. Chair, council members, committee members, it's within the economic policy and development division, and it's a realignment of an existing FTE.
Okay. Councilmember Bender, you still have the floor. If that answers your question, or how you'd like to proceed.
Could you also, Ben, answer the part of, does staff feel like you're sufficiently engaged in this discussion about sort of expectations that go beyond this proposal to be able to respond as we get into the sort of last minute? I'm trying to avoid the sort of last minute thing with this, because I imagine it's going to be a part of discussion, and just want to make sure that staff is engaged in hearing what the expectations are and finding ways we could meet them, starting with potentially things that wouldn't require significant budget increases.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, Councilmember Bender, yes, I think is the answer to the way you phrased your question. And to elaborate, we have started to set up some outreach meetings, as you know, with stakeholders in the community, including the small business community, including other stakeholders, so that we're clear as we write the job description for the position what people's vision of this is. We've given some thought to it, and we have put some things down, but there's not a job description yet. So we're hoping to hear from the wider community what their hopes are. And of course, that needs to be factored together with what can one person, one position accomplish, even when working on the same team as our existing staff, our terrific staff in business licensing and in business development, who already do work with small businesses. So, but yes.
Okay, thank you. We have Council Vice President Glidden, and then we'll have Councilmember Gordon. Go ahead.
Thanks. I wanted to do a little follow-up on this. I'm glad Councilmember Bender asked the question. I may hear different, every single policymaker up here may hear different feedback from stakeholders, even if we're hearing from the same stakeholders. I just want to kind of say that. So, and I haven't gotten any letter about 5 new positions, but I will say what I have heard is around this topic isn't like a set number of new positions, but how there is able to be kind of a change in kind of a feeling of how the business community is able to establish relationship with the city that is different from just about enforcement. And so, again, this may be just sort of what is the, what is that contact your business has received? And there's a lot of businesses, and it certainly may be that if your particular business has only received a contact that's about enforcement. And so, I guess my question to you would be, not knowing about the level of the position that you already have, that you're the existing resource that you're now going to put into this type of work, will that person have the ability to establish a plan, not just for kind of outreach and putting together that plan or whatever that looks like, but also for how to work with existing resources in the city to think about how some of our existing jobs might have that component of relationship more developed into their work. Again, sometimes it's a little bit like how you communicate, in a whole variety of things. So I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know that it's all about just new resources, and we actually added resources, last budget that is connected to our sick leave ordinance, and those positions will probably in the early stage of when they're utilized be more about education and training and outreach and things that are a little bit different than just pure enforcement. And so those, I think, are opportunities too. And I just don't know how all this folds in to the vision and what really is the vision, or when we're going to hear more about the vision for this, because I do think there's a lot of just interest and excitement about this, more because of what does it say that's a little bit different about the city's intentions in establishing relationship with the business community.
Mr. Chair, Council Vice President Glidden, you're right. There's a lot to this that goes well beyond a $25,000 enhancement to do marketing about a single position. Let's see. You asked a few specific things, and then I'll just comment on some of what you said and more to follow. It's a relatively high-level position. We have the ability to decide exactly where this person sits, although I expect that he or she will be out of the office a lot, given the nature of the position. I think it needs to be pretty high level because for the ombudsman role, which Craig mentioned, somebody with some experience working with us or some experience already working here to know who to call to solve the problem is a key role. We all do that a lot, and we all value people who can help us with that. And also to hear from stakeholders and businesses in the world, this is a problem. I mean, you'll see in a few minutes, I'll show you how many ordinance changes business licensing has brought forward as part of our Business Made Simple effort. It's not only getting rid of regulation, as you suggest, Councilmember, it's also the customer service perspective, right? It's one thing to say, no, you can't. It's another to say, I'm sorry to say that, no, you can't, and we want to work with you to help fashion a proposal which we can say yes to, right? It's a different thing. So for those reasons, I think it is a higher level position. We have to determine exactly what. And as I said a moment ago to Councilmember Bender, part of the reason to do some engagement before we finalize a job description is to gather information not only on what this person will do, but also on how we can fold in some of those ideas, hear them ourselves, and continue to work on our customer service and our responsiveness and our forward-leaning attitude.
Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And maybe you already answered this, but what's the current vacant position, job responsibilities that's now not going to be filled in order for us to fill this?
Mr. Chair, Councilmember Gordon, there are a few possibilities, and we haven't landed on one in particular yet. But just as an example, one is the business development lead position, formerly held by Miles Mercer, who's now the manager of business development. So it's I would say a higher level position, and we do have some latitude to figure that out.
Okay, that will be interesting to know which position will be filled for this. I'm supportive of the idea. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
I think may I just add, in addition to certainly the things that David shared, I think how this position will play a role in helping to support some of the other initiatives that are being put on the ground that are directed or targeted at small businesses, particularly businesses of color and women businesses. And I know that the city, and through the efforts of the city coordinator's office and certainly Councilmember Glidden, there's been a focus on the minority business development program, and certainly being able to think about how this particular position will support that effort and create more access for those businesses who I continue to hear when I'm out in the community that are looking for contracting opportunities or just general information about how to get involved with the procurement activities that are here at the city of Minneapolis. So hopefully this position will be able to create the kind of access and awareness about all of the different resources and or programs that the city has across the enterprise, supporting businesses and working with businesses. With that said, I'd like to continue to move forward, ladies and gentlemen. And if I can get you now to turn your document to page 31. Change item number 6. The mayor's recommended budget includes an appropriation in the amount of $75,000 from the general fund to support the Opportunity Hub. This is one-time funding, and there are no FTE requests associated with this ask. Funds will be used to support a culturally specific economic center located in the Cedar Riverside community. The Opportunity Hub will provide immigrant populations with access to educational, business, and workforce resources, as well as direct access to skill building, technical assistance, and employment opportunities. The hub, of course, is the vision of Councilmember Abdi Warsame, and it will play a critical role in assisting in the ongoing growth and development of the Cedar Riverside area, as well as the resident population in that area. Last year, if you recall, $100,000 was allocated to support the hub. This funding, along with the $75K that's being asked for this year, has been leveraged to attract a total of $1.5 million in funding from other local institutions. Hennepin County is certainly one of those benefactors and a key supporter of the hub. Let me, if I may, just reiterate that the hub will be a tool to help improve the lives and opportunities of immigrant residents in this area by connecting them to a wide range of comprehensive resources, services, and tools. These resources will help to promote self-sufficiency and certainly assist residents in raising their standard of living and providing stable economic conditions for not only themselves, but for their families. It is anticipated, and certainly correct me if I'm wrong, Councilmember Warsame is no longer in the chamber, that the groundbreaking for the hub will happen in the next month or so. It is also anticipated that the official opening for the hub will be in January, February of 2017. With that, I'd like to ask you to move to page 37 in your document. The mayor's recommended budget includes an appropriation in the amount of $100 from the general fund to support the Minneapolis Career Pathways Initiative. This is also another new initiative. This request is for one-time funding, and it does not include any FTE requests. The Career Pathway Program is designed to provide alternative approaches to help internal city departments create non-traditional employment opportunities or a process to better attract members of diverse communities to fill positions in their departments. I again would like to clarify, this is an internal city program. One objective of the program is to address current and future labor shortage barriers by identifying workforce needs in high-demand occupations throughout the city, while at the same time creating career pathways that lead to filling these positions by increasing the level of diversity across the enterprise. CPED Employment and Training, in partnership with HR, is requesting $100,000 to support a Career Pathways pilot program for 2017. The way the program would work essentially is that departments would make application for the funding. There will be a committee that's established to review the applications to make decisions about the award amounts to each department. The funding could be used by departments to do several things, and perhaps more will be more ideas, at least in terms of how the funding can be used to support departments, will emerge later. But three that are on the table now, and David, certainly please feel free to come forward and add additional details, that they could use the money to create internships and pay wages for interns in these departments. They could use the funds to pay for training costs to receive certifications necessary for individuals that would be placed in these positions. And third, they could use the money to create a comprehensive communications and marketing plan that really reaches and targets diverse communities more broadly. Director Frank, any additional comments you want to add?
Mr. Taylor, I was wondering, is there a complementary or corresponding budget request within HR? Why is this in CPED rather than HR?
Not to my knowledge. Is there, Mr. Frank?
Okay. And it's just part of our workforce training projects as opposed to filling positions within the city? It's just a funding source for that process?
Mr. Chair, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Don't need to dwell on that.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the committee to turn to page 39 in your document. Change item number 8. The mayor's recommended budget includes an appropriation in the amount of $150,000 from the general fund to support the Tech Hire program. This is a program I'm sure most of you are familiar with. The request is for ongoing funding. However, there are certainly no FTE requests associated with this ask. Last year, this program received $350,000 in program support to train people in jobs in the IT or technology industry. If you recall, in 2015, President Obama announced his Tech Hire initiative, and Minneapolis was named one of the key cities being selected to participate in the program. And under the leadership of Deb Barr-Helden, this program has had phenomenal success and results, and I'm sure Director Frank will share those with you momentarily. So let me just break down how, in addition to the 150 that's being asked for, the 100 that is being recommended as part of the mayor's budget, let me break down how those funds will certainly be used to support this initiative. 160,000 of these funds will be used to support coding boot camp scholarships for 20 participants. Partners providing the training will include Prime Digital Academy, which is an existing partner, someone we've worked with for a while, the Software Guild, and certainly others will be given the opportunity as well. Scholarships will be assessed by the Jewish Family and Children's Service Center. $40,000 of the funds will be used to support help desk technician training for 40 participants. That includes A+ certification as well as network certification. Training partners will include IT Ready, which again is an existing partner of CPED, Minnesota Computers for Schools, and there will be others that will be considered as well. 30,000 of these funds will be used to support scholarships for 6 students to attend classes at Dakota Institute for IT. These students will learn IT fundamentals and will be assisted with job placement in the IT field upon graduation. And finally, $20,000 of these funds will be used to support a marketing budget to continue recruitment of individuals that will help to build a pipeline, if you will, in response to the program. So at this time, I'd like to certainly call up Director Frank and allow him to provide you with an overview of some of the outcomes and impact of the programs in economic development in 2016.
Thank you, Craig. Mr. Chair, committee members, as Craig said, I thought I'd share with you, you know a lot of it, but what we've been up to this past year and indicate what we'll be working on going forward with your continued support. So first in business development, one thing I should mention is that we, in all of our programs, specialize in finding outside partnerships. I know you know all of the city enterprise works on that. I would especially call that out as we start to look through the programs in business development. We work with small businesses, as we were talking about just a few minutes ago. You can see the results here. We've started in the past few years under Miles Mercer and with the expert leadership of Daniel Bonilla, working with entrepreneurs through the Business Technical Assistance Program, or BTAP. The program's so popular that it now has cousins CTAP and DTAP. And you can see the results here. I should tell you, too, that as part of our Bloomberg Philanthropies work, the I team, the innovation team, one of the things that they have been working on with us is a program evaluation, soon to be complete, of our work in the BTAP program. So they have been doing outreach to businesses, they have been doing survey work, and they have written a very detailed and factual report, and we'll be happy to share that with you when it's done. That work with entrepreneurs is exactly the work that business development should be doing. We invest in businesses, we invest in real estate, and we invest in people as wealth is created, especially in communities of color, especially with lower income Minneapolis residents. And of course, we work on real estate deals. A lot of times when you see us standing here, it's for property deals, it's for requests for proposals or other things about real estate, Upper Harbor Terminal and other projects. And as you can see, those are described below. We get great leverage out of the funds that you give us and that we work with our partners to invest in these projects, and they are spread across the city of Minneapolis. I mentioned business licensing earlier. Business licensing is sometimes the first, sometimes the last, sometimes the only encounter that a business might have with the city. And as such, we take our responsibilities seriously. There's a rationale to why this regulatory function lives within the agency that's trying to grow jobs and grow the tax base. And it's because of this interaction with business. As part of the Business Made Simple program, in addition to the thousands and thousands of Minneapolis businesses which are licensed by us, we've brought forward ordinance amendments, as you can see here, to eliminate outdated licenses and to increase opportunities, sometimes by adding new license types for businesses operating in the city. And as you can see here, we are always trying to find ways to do better with our customer service, not just in business licensing, but across the department. And as Craig mentioned just a moment ago, in our employment and training division, you can see we serve thousands of people in both our adult program and in our youth program. Step Up wrapped up this year, serving, I think, something like 1,700 youth, and an incredibly successful program that's being replicated now different places around the country. We put these funds out through competitive processes, and we provide the training that helps Minneapolis residents find a job, keep their job, and sometimes find a new job. And I'll pause there. Mr. Chair, any questions?
Not seeing any. Thank you, Mr. Frank.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, we do not have any change item requests specific to development services or long-range planning, but I am asking Director Poor, followed by Dr. Byers with long-range planning, to come forward and share some of the outcomes and impact associated with each one of their divisions. Director Poor, please.
Welcome, Mr. Poor. Please.
Good afternoon, Chairman Quincy, members of the committee. Maybe I'd have you turn to page 53 in your packet here. As many of you know, thank you, Henry, witnessing the great opening of the U.S. Bank Stadium, we've been busy over the last few years. I'm quite proud of our staff getting that project through the regulatory process and allowing Mortenson to finish that project on time, ahead of schedule and on budget. In spite of that, we had a record year of development this year. As many of you know, we crossed the $1 billion threshold in permit activity or permit valuation in late August, which is the earliest of the city doing so on record. So one of the big challenges of development services on the construction code services side is just to be able to manage this blessing of successful development that we have in Minneapolis. It's great for the tax base. It's great for our skyline. It's great for reinvestment in our infrastructure. So that's first and foremost. Along the way, they did 78,000 inspections last year on properties, from everything from plumbing to heating to set decks on setbacks, things like that. And again, they also managed to do this in such a timely fashion and with such frequency that we lowered our ISO insurance rating. So we got back to the best insurance rating you can get for the city, which lowers insurance rates, particularly for commercial properties. And so that's a pretty noteworthy achievement. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong slide, but that's all right. We'll go along the way to getting there. Thanks for pointing that out. Thank you, Henry. On the development service side, in the Customer Review Center, we had more customers this year than last, and more customers the year before than the year before that. So we've continued to have an increase in customers coming and speaking with us. I think that we're working towards getting people better information up front, trying to help them get through the process more effectively. We participate along in the Bloomberg initiatives and with the business made simple to identify where development services in particular is either presenting roadblocks or not effectively communicating with our customers and our citizens and our business operators to help them get open and operate. We continue to work with council to identify where those choke points are and to try to work on improving them. I guess I'd want to go back to the planning slide. I don't want to leave my planning folks out of it, so we'll go back to slide. Let's see, Henry, am I going the right way here? Here we go. So we have, as you all know, we have boards and commissions, the Planning Commission, the Zoning Board of Adjustment, the Heritage Preservation Commission, and we had 70 board and commission meetings last year. We try, as you know, in Minneapolis, to be very transparent about what is heard in these hearings. We publish our reports online before the hearings. Some people may think that's good, others it's too much communication, but we do try to do a lot of public outreach. Working with our friends in business licensing and our zoning and planning chair and other council members, we worked on 10 text amendments, some of which were in alignment with streamlining in business licensing. Others were just to get more updated ordinances reflecting the kind of development that we want. We reviewed 44 certificates of appropriateness through the Heritage Preservation Commission. But on the same note, we did 237 certificates of no change, which means that we looked at historic properties or structures or contributing properties and found ways to do these kind of reviews administratively. We still holding true to the preservation guidelines, but not requiring a public hearing. As many of you know, one of the boards and commissions that we hear a lot of feedback on about uncertainty is the Heritage Preservation Commission, and we continue to work to have that body work in alignment with the the Planning Commission and the Zoning and Planning Committee. But we are sensitive about that review process, and we continue to work with our commission members on that. We had 41 major projects reviewed. Again, we've had so many projects in the city over 20, 30, 40, $50 million. These are detailed reviews. Many of you have seen them come before you either at the Zoning and Planning Committee, the Planning Commission. And of course, all those projects involve a lot of the back office work on reviewing the building permits and the construction plans, et cetera.
Just, if I could, Mr. Poor, I just wanted to check. Councilmember Gordon, I see you in queue. Is that left over from a previous, or is that new? Okay, no problem. Thank you.
In any event, we've continued to see construction tick along at a very high pace. Things have not slowed down since August. We've continued to see a lot of activity. I would say that while we've been doing this, many of you are aware we just rolled back the implementation of the ELMS project for a few weeks, but I just want to say a shout out to the staff, both from business licensing and health and public works and in development services, that we put 550 of those employees through training, much of which we did down at the convention center. And I personally received very few complaints about any diminution in service. It was very taxing on our employees. I think they did a really good job. They've been asked to do a lot of heavy lifting along with our partners in IT. And I think you all have seen communication on that, and we appreciate you understanding that sometimes staff just wasn't available because some of them were in training for some time. We are hopeful that that new system will work along with our work in business licensing to, again, identify efficiencies, streamlining, better communication, consistent communication with the customers. We're also mindful in the Development Review Center, the permit counter, that as we move towards electronic plan submission, not all of our residents, customers, business operators may be as sophisticated as some of the large design houses, architecture firms, and building construction firms. So we will work diligently to try to address our customers however they meet us, but still try to find the efficiencies of the new electronic land management system. I think with that, I'm open to any questions you would have right now.
Not seeing any. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Okay, thank you very much.
Slide 8, 9, 10. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and council members. For the record, my name is Jack Byers. I'm manager of long range planning. And I'm here today to talk about the performance indicators for long range planning. We have 3 of them. The first is to leverage CPED's investments and resources to foster economic development and revitalization in challenged areas. This one is particularly important because we don't work solo. We work in close cooperation with our colleagues in economic development and in housing to make sure that the investments of the city pay off. And we also work closely, as you know, with neighborhoods and with the general public because they are the folks that live and work in our neighborhoods and have their own vision and ideas about how the world should be. Long-range planning creates asset-based strategic plans, models, and frameworks. You probably know these better by their more common name. We have a series of products or a series of kinds of planning activities we work on. As you know, we're currently engaged in updating the comprehensive plan. We're in the end of phase 2 of a 5-phase project that will go on through 2017 and 2018. We do small area plans to provide more detailed, emphatic, and strategic recommendations for areas of transition around the city. We do station area plans at all fixed rail transit stations, rezoning studies so that all of those plans and visions can be incorporated through the development services side of the business. We also do urban design plans. And so some recent examples are obviously the comprehensive plan, which is taking up a lot of our work. But we've also done amendments to the city's existing comprehensive plan for small area plans in Stadium Village, Loring Park, Linden Hills, and neighborhood-based plans in St. Anthony East, Como, Southeast Como, Logan Park, and others around the city. Our second performance measure is to strengthen CPED's role as a leader, innovator, and key driver of our city's regional economic competitiveness. And much of this is actually through our research activities. We have a number of products that are not always the documents that reach out and grab you, but they are solid and consistent, and they provide data and information not only for colleagues internally, but for the general public and the business community. These include Trends Minneapolis, the major development projects maps, ward profiles, our portion of Results Minneapolis, and then we have a number of specific research initiatives that drive specific planning activities. There's two especially notable research activities that we've been working on in the last year. The first is the housing inventory in close collaboration with Councilmember Bender's office and with our colleagues in CPED Housing. What we've done is to take a lot of the existing data that the city and the county and other sources have about data and put it all together into a format that's usable and actually highly powered so that we can start to ask our own research questions and solve our own research questions through the data that's already available. And then to find out, importantly, what data we don't have available and how we need to augment that so that we can address our questions, not through intuition or not just through our best policy intentions, but through actual hard data. We're doing something similar with commercial land uses. So we've put something together for the entire city, and we're anxious to use that with our colleagues. That's been done in conjunction with our colleagues in economic development. We're anxious to use that together as we do planning on the comprehensive plan. And I want to point out that one of the challenges that we all know about the city's existing comprehensive plan is that while it is